Morning, guys. The chairman once again, bringing you a couple reviews and a bit of a rant about a vinyl album that I recently got in. But I'm going to start with reviews. So I've been watching with my son the Arrow Gamera series, and we're on number 3 right now. Just the beginning, Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris, and the first one was Gamera Guardian of the Universe. Second being Gamera 2, Attack of Legion. And so these are a reboot of the old Gamera series, and these came out in the mid 90s, like 95 to 97, and they were intended as a trilogy, and as such, I really feel that they're comparable, if not much better, than the contemporary Godzilla films also coming out from Toho at the time. Those Godzilla films were pretty loose on the chronology, if there was any kind of a connection into the continuity. They were just a lot messier, and you could tell that, being a Godzilla film, they knew they would get the audience, but there was just a lot less care and thought put into the way things had happened, the way that the stories unfolded. It was clearly done much more for spectacle and for just monsters smashing cities and stuff like that. But there was really a lot of thought and a lot of care put together into the creation of this trilogy. And it does really show, because the same three guys, the same three main creators came back to do all three films, and they were the director Shusuke Kaneko, the writer Kazunori Ito, and the special effects director Shinji Higuchi. He actually went on to co-direct Shin Godzilla, and it really shows, because the one thing that you see throughout this Gamera series that really influenced Shin Godzilla was how they incorporated a lot of news headlines, TV news reports, to really show you what was going on, how it was affecting the nation and the public. So you got a very good sense of, as Rob liked to say, a verisimilitude, because you felt like what was happening was being then presented to the public in a, sort of believable way, I guess. I mean, obviously it's not totally believable, but it wasn't like things just happened and things were just crazy. There was like a logic to it. You could see, like, for example, if the attack started in Hokkaido and then they were moving down, you could feel a progression to the story. And as well, they used a lot of title cards, so every location had a title card to show you where it was. Sometimes they show you the time and the date, and some of the military figures, they had their name shown on the bottom. So, and then you saw that, of course, in Shin Godzilla, where they did the same thing, almost to the point of overkill. It got to be a little bit of a joke, especially with like Rando Hakuchi, and he had like a gazillion titles under his name. But so that's where so I feel that, if anything, Shin Godzilla was influenced much more by the Gamera series than it was by the previous Toho Godzilla movies. And for that, I would definitely recommend anyone who's into the kaiju films who has not explored Gamera yet, definitely go out and check these out, because I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. It's the effects actually look much better. There's a lot of pretty awesome looking shots, actually, that you kind of wonder how they got, because they shot a lot in daytime. They shot a lot on what appears to be location, and there was the obvious composite shots when they see the kaiju flying around. But for the rest of the time, like the summation stuff, the model stuff was pretty good. It was like I said, it was on par with Godzilla, if not better, in a lot of cases. So the one complaint I will have is that, and I don't know whether this is just a case with Arrow films, especially the Region B films, because I saw this with Weird Science also, is that it was in the bright daytime shots, everything looked great. I mean, it looked way better than anything that you've seen from the TriStar Blu-rays of those Godzilla films of that era. But in like the darker scenes, the grain was so thick it wasn't even like photographic grain. It was like they were actually like digital artifacts. And I'll see if I can try to show you what I'm talking about, because it almost got to the point of being overbearing, because especially when the color got intense, like any like reds or purples or oranges. Like there was this one shot where this lady had sunlight on her eyes, and like right at the top, it was almost like a red line. It wasn't even like realistic looking sunlight on her eyes. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, because that was kind of annoying. But so the other thing I want to talk about was that I did finish watching Demons 2, and I will say that there were no more flaws in the rest of Demons. Everything else looked pretty good. In terms of film, you know, it kind of wraps up the same way as Demons 1 does. The one thing that was weird about Demons 2 was that it seemed like Baba dropped a lot of storylines. I don't know if he cut out a lot of stuff, or if he had to like just kind of quickly finish it up, because he had a couple threads that he kept going back to, like the punks who were in a car, and the one guy's named Jacob, and he's going to the girl Sally's birthday party, but she doesn't want him to go, so she sends this guy out to wait for him, and he's waiting for her forever. And then you cut between him, like the demon's starting to go nuts inside the building, but he doesn't know. They cut back to the punks in the car, and he's driving fast, and then that never goes anywhere, because you kind of think that it's a callback to the first film, where you had the similar 4 punks in the car, and then they just happen to end up in the theater also, but that never goes anywhere in Demons 2, so that was kind of strange. And then they also showed the parents of the little kid, because they left him at home, and then of course he turned to a demon, and then they showed them going home, and nothing ever happened. So I don't know, it seemed kind of weird, but it seemed like he was trying to get the film wrapped up, and ended up focusing on the pregnant girl and her husband, and how they survived that night in the building. So the other one that I wanted to tell you about is this. This is John Carpenter's Skeleton. I guess it came out a few years ago. Supposedly it is his non-soundtrack music, but honestly I can't tell the difference. Now, so I got this from Sound of Vinyl. It was delayed, and then so I finally got it in the other day, even though I had ordered it at the same time as I had ordered Lost Themes. So what it is there's this translucent cover on here. It's kind of neat. So on the back is there's an X-ray of a skeleton. This one's of course the skull, and then so the one thing immediately weird, you notice there's nothing written on here other than obviously it's John Carpenter's Skeleton, and then inside. So the first thing is that I had to replace the paper sleeve, because this thing was the original paper sleeve was so stacked up I couldn't even slide the record out. So it's a red vinyl, pretty nice looking, but then you know still, like, other than it says Skeleton and then Unclean Spirit, there's like nothing else written on here. And I don't know if you notice, but there is, like, you see how little, you see in the light there, you see how little of the record is music, and then I turn around and same thing, you can see in the light there, and that got me a little worried, and I put it on, and yep, it was like 5 minutes aside, if that, and that was pretty bad. I mean, like, there's nothing else in here. The only thing is it came with a card that gave me a free download of the MP3, but I don't know why. Yeah, 5 minutes aside, that kind of sucks. I mean, they were good songs. I mean, they were John Carpenter-y songs, but honestly, this was not even an EP. I mean, you got EPs that have had more music on them, and for him to put out something like this, like literally 10 minutes of music, I consider it to be a ripoff. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in him for even attempting to put out something like this and call it an album, because it's yeah, and for it to cost as much as it did, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a super thumbs down for that, because yeah, not too happy about that. I mean, Lost Themes, I got Lost Themes 3, it was great. I mean, I'll probably still get his other ones, but I'm gonna have to do my research more, because this one was, yeah, no good. If anyone is even mildly considering getting this, yeah, don't. It's a waste. It's a waste. Whether it's the CD or album or whatever. I mean, there's nothing on here. There's no credits. There's no, anything. It's just very strange. So yeah, so that's what I thought about this, and also my reflections on Gamera. I definitely recommend you go out and find Gamera. Finished up the Demons review, and oh, by the way, I did pick up A Quiet Place 4K because my son was asking about it. So I've never watched it, so we'll get around to watching it someday, and I'll give you a review on it. So other than that, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. Yeah, so like I was telling you guys, you can see how the graininess is like actually even not just grain, but it looks almost like it's like digital splotching. So I'll play this. I don't know if you can look at her hands. You kind of look at her face. See if you can see that. And like the guy's face. And here's another example. But then on this shot, you don't see the graininess at all. It's there, but it's not anywhere near as bad as those shots in the inside the office. Like even on this guy's face here. It looks like much more normal film grain than it is on the faces. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Could be just different film elements, because you don't get the graininess on here at all. Not even on this guy's face or their faces. But this was the example that I was talking about, where the sun across her face, it's like not even real looking. I mean, some of it is just normal film grain, but it comes off looking super unnatural.